Yo, Agwan, hope you're having a great day. This is a special video because I know you're gonna love it. Yeah, this video is going to be showing you how to write a rap song for beginners, but I'm going to be sharing 4 major songwriting tips to write better rap songs. So make sure you stick through all the way to the end. All of these tips are very useful, and you are going to make better songs, write better lyrics if you use this information. Now, the information I'm going to share in this video will help you make your lyrics make sense. Even if you freestyle every line, I freestyle my songs, but my songs make sense. It will also stop your music from being boring, which ends with people not listening halfway through. Like, you've probably tried to share your music with someone or show it to someone, and you can see that they're distracted halfway through the song, not really listening to what's going on because your writing is boring and it's not gripping them. It also make it easier for you to fit your lyrics to the beat. I've got a tip for that. And this information will help you make people feel something when they listen to your songs, which is really the whole point of songwriting in a nutshell. Like, when people listen to music, you really want them to feel something, and that's how you keep your music with them over the long term. So if you don't know who I am, I'm Jay Carteret from jcarteret.com, teaching you how to be better at music, online business, and online marketing. This is the #1 spot for musicians and creatives that don't want to be starving artists. So if that sounds like you, click on that subscribe button, check out the rest of the content on the channel. Let's get straight into this, shall we? Now, I do have a document brought up so I can bring up specific lyrics, but what I'm going to do for this is we're just going to walk through a few of my songs and I'm going to give you some information. Now, the first tip I've got for you is super important, and this is what you need to do before you start writing any song. You need to understand what is the point of your song, and you need to write that down. You need to set a point of the song or have a specific story that you're going to be telling. What emotion are you trying to get across here? What is the main theme of your song? These are the types of things you need to be thinking about. So for example, I've got 2 songs here that we're going to be looking at, which are more rap type songs. This song Hill is a singing song, so I'm going to leave that alone. But this song Trust, which is available on Spotify, you can go listen to that now. And this song Nobody Else, which will be available soon on Spotify, you might be able to listen to that when this video's out. But these songs clearly have something that they're talking about, and you can tell by the title. Trust is about, yeah, thought so. Nobody Else is, you know, a love song, so you can clearly understand what's going on, and from the first line of Nobody Else you understand what's going on. So let me quickly play that so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. This is called Grade Cookie. Even when you drive me so crazy, deep down I know there's nobody else. So you already understand what's going on here, because I said, even when you drive me so crazy, deep down I know there's nobody else. So you kind of get what the point of this song is. I'm talking about, you know, how I know there's nobody else for me but this one person that I'm talking to, basically. So the song's called Nobody Else, you get it. So first thing you want to do before you even start writing lyrics is basically have a point. And the way I came up with this point is I just listened to the beat, and that was the first lyric that came to my head, and I just didn't overthink it. I just went with the lyric, and then I just flowed from there with other lyrics that related to that lyric. So that's the best thing that you can do to make sure that your song makes sense, okay? So make sure that you have a point, and the point is generally going to be expressed in your chorus. So as you can hear, this is the chorus. I'll play the rest of the chorus so you can kind of get the whole theme of the song. Let's go through. So what your chorus is supposed to do is state the point of the song. Then your verses basically back that up. Your verses are where you get deeper into the story of the song, or you're telling a story, or you're getting more detailed into the point and sharing how the point applies to different aspects of your life, different moments, different things. So that's how you do that. I could go through the whole song and show you how things are going, but I believe I'll use that for other examples. I think that'll be better. So the second thing that I want to teach you about, well, first of all, let's go to Trust and we'll hear Trust's chorus so you can see what's going on there.
At the mouth of your bitch, yeah, real fun. Stacking many sacrifices on a real fun.
We'll start from the pre-chorus here because the pre-chorus is as much of the chorus as the chorus is. So here we go.
Stacking big funds on the road to riches. Made so many sacrifices, I was there, bro. All I know is grind and scrap it on my headstone. Got hair on my own, matte black throne. Sitting all alone, ain't no one that I can trust but me. All the friends I had are lost. You see, we went down a different road. Couldn't play it safe, I was cold and alone. Smiling through the pain, ain't no one that I can trust but me. All the friends I had are lost. You see, we went down a different road, yeah. Couldn't play it safe, I was cold and alone, yeah. Smiling through the pain. Hey.
So that's very, very straightforward, talking about I'm the only one that I can trust. All my friends I had are lost. We went down different roads. Basically, you understand, you get the point of what's going on. And then the pre-chorus is, I forgot the lyrics. But yeah, on the path to riches, made so many sacrifices, I was there, bro. All I know is grind and scrap it on my hairstone. Got hair on my own, matte black throne. Sitting all alone, cause ain't no one that I can trust but me. So I'm giving you some backstory into how I got here and giving you some more context basically. So that makes everything just flow a whole lot better and makes the experience of listening to the song more entertaining than if I was just saying random stuff and it didn't connect. So you can still say random stuff, and I'll go throughout this song so you can hear, you know, I can say random stuff, but I always bring it back so that it makes for a good cohesive song. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is parallelism. I believe it's called parallelism, but for the purposes of this video, we're just gonna call it parallel writing. Yeah. Parallel. Let me make sure I get the right word. Parallelism is the correct thing. So parallelism basically, and I need this text on screen to explain this to you well, but let me show you an example of parallelism in my song Nobody Else. No, actually, let me show you in Trust, because Trust has a lot of parallelism in the second verse. So let's play it over there.
Yeah, couldn't play it safe. I was cold and alone, yeah. Smiling through the pain. Hate being the smartest in the room. Hate when niggas ain't got real opinions, they just say what's on the news, yeah. Hate when people say they want the truth. Hate when you don't want the truth unless it sound convenient to you, yeah. Hate that I love to help you grow. Love to see you doing better than.
Okay, so let me write down the lyrics real quick. I'm gonna have to check my phone because I don't remember them, and then I'll explain exactly what parallelism is, how I've used it right here, and how it helps your songwriting. So these are the 4 bars we'll focus on. So as you can see, each line begins with hate. This is parallelism. Now, this isn't strictly parallelism. I could show you it done to a more efficient degree, but this is parallelism in a nutshell. Hate being the smartest in the room. Hate when niggas ain't got real opinions, they just say what's on the news. Hate when people say they want the truth. Hate when you don't want the truth unless it sounds convenient to you. Now, if everything was hate when, then that would be more parallelism, because, you know, everything's exactly the same. But just having hate at the beginning of each line is parallelism enough for the songwriting purposes, because this repetition, what it's going to do is that's going to stick in your listener's head, and it's going to be really easy for them to listen to this and then, you know, continue listening basically. And the next line from this is, hate it that I love to see you grow, love to see you doing better than you did before, love it when you come and put that. And then basically I changed from hate to love, and that again is familiar. It's going to stick in people's heads. It's much easier for someone to listen to that. Now I've got another example of this in my song Nobody Else, in the second verse, I believe.
When you back from hell, we go through that shit. Nobody else. You spend the nights on my mind, yeah. I wish that the days had more time, yeah. Money I for make on my grind, yeah. What's the point of shining if you ain't by my side? What's the point?
So this is perfect parallelism. Let me write it out. So the parallelism that I used here just perfectly transitions into the next 4 bar of the verse. I'll play it back again, but first let's look at what's going on here. So at the beginning of both of these lines, we got what's the point of. So that's our parallelism. That's the thing that's parallel in both lines, basically. So in the first line, we got what's the point of shining if you ain't by my side, and then we got what's the point of grinding if I never see your smile. So it links, it's catchy because it's got that little bit of repetition, but we're also using like different rhyming words and all that sort of stuff, and it echoes the same meaning, but we're saying it in a different way, so that it's a great transition right here. So let's play that back so you can see the transition, hear the transition, and see how it moves into the second part of the verse.
Money I for make is have more time on my mind, yeah. You spend the nights on my mind, yeah. I wish that the days had more time, yeah. Money I for make on my grind, yeah. What's the point of shining if you ain't by my side? What's the point of grinding if I never see you smile? Have dimples on the sides and your teeth poking out. You dye your hair red like fire, fish that's kept me excited.
So as you can see, it just makes that transition into the next part so smooth, because at the end of our first 4 bars, we switch it up completely, which is another trick I'm going to be talking about and getting into more detail in a bit. But we switch it up completely, which makes things more exciting. And then for the next line of like the first line of the next 4 bars, we've got the same, like we've got parallelism going on over here. So it's a bit of repetition. It keeps us being cohesive. It makes you know that, you know, that was a correct line. It was supposed to be like that, and it keeps it flowing to the next part of the song. So that's a very, very, very great trick. If you just use these 2 great tricks, you're going to write much better songs, because your songs are just going to be more catchy and people are going to be able to sing them a whole lot better. The more you do that, the more widespread your songs can be, I believe, anyway. So that's how you do that. The next thing I want to talk about is just cutting the fat. Cutting the fat is super, super important. And this is obviously the 3rd major tip. Now, how do I explain this? Cutting the fat is getting rid of words that aren't super necessary for you to get your point across. You have to trust your listener to make some sort of interpretations and understand what you're saying without you saying it, if you get what I'm saying. And I can show you some examples of this. Now, right here, we've got some examples of this. When I say, hate being the smartest in the room, hate when niggas ain't got real opinions, they just say what's on the news, hate when people say they want the truth. Now, usually, when I would have started writing something like this, I would write, I hate. But that's not necessary. You don't need to have the I there. The I is useless because the listener knows that this is you're talking. Obviously, that's what you're talking about. So you don't need to add stuff like that. Like I generally at the beginning of new things, or like you don't need to add that all the time. Now, sometimes you do need to add that. So this is something that you just need to basically use your common sense and use your instinct on. But let me walk through some of trust and see if we can find some examples of me cutting the fat. So, great cookie.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Blessing or a curse, I don't know no more.
So like that, blessing or a curse, I don't know no more. I didn't say, is this a blessing or a curse, or is that a blessing or a curse? I believe the first version that I recorded of this, or the first writing of this, had, is that a blessing or a curse, or something like that. But you don't need that. Like, you can obviously understand that I said I got too much common sense. Yeah, blessing or a curse, I don't know no more. You know, I'm referring to the fact that I've got too much common sense. Is that a blessing or a curse? I don't know no more. So I don't need to say is that. So these little things, like these little words that you might just add in there because you want to make more sense, it's not necessary in songwriting. You want to cut out as many of the useless words as possible so that you can get straight to the meat. And this is a very, very great way to make sure that your vocals fit to the beat, because the more small words like that you cut out, the more space you have in terms of syllables. If you're adding too many syllables, it's going to be harder for you to rap to the beat. Now let's see if we got any more examples of this, okay?
I can see the lawyer showing his pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose.
Okay, at that point, I had to cut some words. Let me quickly play the part that I'm talking about.
Your word if it's, yeah.
It's why give me your word if it's worthless? Liars gonna lie, that's their purpose.
Why give me your word if it's worthless? Liars gonna lie, that's their purpose. All my friends.
So what I'm saying there is, why give me your word if it's worthless? It's like I'm talking to someone who's basically, you know, give me the word and didn't do anything, and then I'm like, I think the line was, I guess liars gonna lie, that's their purpose, but I had to get rid of the I guess, and getting rid of the I guess just made it flow a whole lot way better. But you can also, like, if you got common sense, you know that that's the answer to my question. I asked the question and then I answered it, so you know what's going on there. I don't need the I guess in there. The I guess completely taken out. Got rid of that useless use of syllables and was able to make this song flow a whole lot better. Remember, full songs on Spotify, go check them out. I'll link them down below as well. Now, before we go any further, I do want to give you a special gift because you got this far in the video. I want to give you 5 of my best R&B trap beats for absolutely free. With these beats, you can upload your song on Spotify and actually make money from your music. Link is in the description down below, or go to jcarterray.com/free beats to grab those beats ASAP. These beats come with 5 basic licenses, which cost $29.95 on my site. That's over $100 of free stuff. So go grab it ASAP before it goes away. Now, question of the day also, before we get into the rest of the video, is what are your top tips for writing songs? Let me know in the comment section down below, okay? Now, let's get back into it. We've gone through make sure you have a point or story. Ask yourself, what's the point or story? That should be the first thing you do before you start writing. Then we talked about parallelism, how to use parallelism, what it is, how it helps your song. Then we talked about cutting the fat, which is basically just cutting words that you don't need. You don't need to write this like it's an English essay. Get rid of those words and trust your audience to understand what you're saying. Make sure it makes sense as much as you can, but trust your audience to understand what you're saying. As long as you're sticking to the story and sticking to the point, it will make sense, okay? Then we've got the next part, which is setting expectations and surprising. Now, this is how you keep your song interesting and keep people listening to the end and keep people listening without getting tired of listening to your song. Now, what a lot of people do is they write very, very simple lines with the same amount of syllables all across. Those are called couplets. Let me give you an example. I got bread, I got fed, money, no, that's too many syllables. Now, this is a 4-bar couplet. I believe in all of these lines, we've got 3 stressed syllables. I need to make a video on stressed syllables and unstressed syllables at some point, but Google it. There are great videos online that will teach you that stuff right about now. But basically, unstressed syllables are syllables that go like, so like they're basically, you know, not as elongated, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to go into it right about now. I don't want to explain stressed and unstressed syllables right about now. I'm not at a point where I can just explain it super easily. But let's look into this. So I got bread in my pocket. No one can ever stop it. All I've ever known is profit. See the future like a prophet. Now, I got rid of I because that was just too much. It didn't flow as good. But that's okay. Like, these aren't great bars, of course. This is just test bars. But the flow isn't that interesting because it's just the same thing all the way through. Now, what you can do with something like this is have it the same thing all the way through and then switch it up, or have it just change up between lines. Like, I think this is called common meter, when you have 4 syllables, then 3 syllables, then 4 syllables, then 3 syllables. And I think that's in stressed syllables. So 4 stressed syllables, 3 stressed syllables, 4 stressed syllables, 3 stressed syllables. That's how you write in common meter. And that's just going to sound more interesting than having all the lines have the same amount of syllables and be the same length. So keep that in mind. But let me show you some examples of this in my writing, because I like to do it a lot. And I just do this instinctively. Like, I just do what sounds better to me. So let's play something. Let's play Trust, I guess, and then we'll go to Nobody Else and give you some other examples.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Blessing or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lie you're showing is pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose. All my friends are dead, all my friends are dead, yeah. I wrote out my mans, it went to my head. This ain't paranoia, this is trust issues. You can't understand me, can't walk in my shoes. Don't tell me what you would do, cause right now you're doing shit. At the mouth of your bitch won't like my dick. She like real ones, we have real fun. Stacking big funds, on the road to riches. Made so many sacrifices, I was there, bro. All I know is grind and scrap it on my headstone. Got hair on my own, matte black throne. Sitting all alone, ain't no one that I can trust.
So as you can see, pretty much every 2 bars I like to switch things up so it's not the exact same flow all the way through. But if we come back to the first verse, you'll see how I've got alternating symbols here. So we got, I got too much common sense, yeah. Blessing or a curse, I don't. That was just so out of key. I got too much common sense, yeah. Blessing or a curse, I don't know no more. I can see the lie you're showing is pretend, yeah. Why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose. So you see how that adds more syllables there, and that's not what people was expecting. They were expecting the same syllables as blessing or a curse, I don't know no more. Damn, I can't hit that note, man. I don't even know where it was, but I got it right once and I was good enough to record the song. So basically, you just gotta set expectations like that, as you saw. You know, that was an expectation set, and then you break them. So let's go back over that again, and I'll basically walk through it.
I got too much common sense, yeah. Blessing or a curse, I don't know no more.
So I got too much common sense, yeah. That's one flow. Let's say that's our A, B. That's our A rhyme or A syllables, and then we got blessing or a curse, I don't know no more, and that's our second type of rhyme. So if we're going A B rhymes, then that's A, and then blessing or a curse is B. And then we've got another A.
I can see the lie you're showing is pretend, yeah.
I can see the lie you're showing is pretend, yeah. That's A again. And then we got,
why give me your word if it's worthless? Lies gonna lie, that's their purpose.
So that's kind of like B, but we've also added more syllables on there, so it's a little bit more interesting and people don't expect it. And now let's look at the same thing in Nobody Else, because I'm sure I've got some examples in there. So first, let me just show you quickly the second half of the chorus, which uses this. First, you see how those lines are really similar. Brought you back from hell with no receipt, and I had you by my side in my defeat, and we go through that shit when it was peak. And then for the last 2 bars, I completely change it up. We got through that shit when it was peak, knee deep, couldn't do it with nobody else. So we're setting expectations, and then changing them. So we're surprising the listener with something new.
Couldn't do it with nobody else.
And now let's look at the verse, which I'm sure I do this a lot, many more times.
Want me, tell me twice. Why don't you spend the night?
Those two lines, very, very similar. Want me, tell me twice. Why don't you spend the night? Then I change it up.
You know when it's dark outside, them drivers act to fry. You don't wanna leave and I don't wanna see you go.
So the next two lines are similar to each other. You know when it's dark outside, them drivers act to fry. You don't wanna leave and I don't wanna see you go. Why you acting shy like we ain't done this shit before? So it's like I'm getting you to expect something and then I'm changing it up on you.
Why you acting shy like we ain't done this shit before?
And then we've got the pre-chorus.
What I like, I know what you like, yeah. Opened up my closet, you saw every corpse inside. Don't believe in marriage, so you'll never be my wife. This is worth more than names on any dotted line. Even
So in here, what I've done is I've just paired two different couplets together. So first we got,
this is worth more than names on it. Marriage, what you like.
you know what I like, I know what you like, yeah. Opened up my closet, showed you, opened up my closet, showed you every corpse inside.
You ain't done this shit before. You know what I like, I know what you like, yeah. Opened up my closet, you saw every corpse inside.
Yeah. Opened up my closet, you saw every corpse in. Opened up my closet, you saw every corpse inside. So we've got those two bars which are similar to each other, and then the next two bars are quite similar to each
Don't
other.
believe in marriage, so you'll never be my wife. This is worth more than names on any dotted line.
Even though they are a bit different, they still got the same kind of flow. But I generally like to keep my pre-choruses more simple so that they don't knock off the listener too much and surprise them too much. You really want to do this sort of surprising stuff in your verses. So let's go to the second verse and see if we got any more examples over here.
What's the fire shining? You spend the nights on my mind, yeah. I wish that the days had more time, yeah.
So two lines that are similar.
Money I for make on my grind.
Third line that's similar. Let's see if we got a surprise.
What's the fire shining if you ain't by my side?
Yep, so let's play that back again.
Yeah. Nights on my mind.
Let me see if I can just get the lyrics up. Cause I write my lyrics down after I do them. Nah, I didn't write these down. So you spend the nights on my mind, yeah. I wish that the days had more time, yeah. Money I for make on my grind, yeah. What's the point of grinding if you ain't by my side? That's what's the point of shining if you ain't by my side? So that's a different, different rhythm. Same rhyming scheme, but different rhythm. So we're adding a little bit of surprise there. And then let's see what the next four lines are saying.
Time, yeah. Money I for make on my grind, yeah. What's the point of shining if you ain't by my side? What's the point of grinding if I never see you smile? Mouth dimples on the sides and your teeth poking out. You dye your hair red like fire. Fish that's get me excited. We smoke together, get higher. Couldn't be more delighted. You know what I like, I know what you like.
Okay, so for the second half of the verse, I don't really add too many surprises in there. I've just got two different couplets with like different flows basically, and I was just, feeling it out. So these tools, very, very useful for making your music way more interesting. Let's recap real quick. So first of all, you want to understand the point of your story. That should be the point of your song or what the story of your song is about. And generally that's going to be in your chorus, might even be your song title. It's better if it is your song title. It's better marketability basically. Then the next thing you want to think about is parallelism. This is, like repetition, but it's going to keep things interesting while also keeping things familiar. So it helps your music be more catchy and helps people listen through to the end. And then, because it's easier to listen to, then we got cutting the fat. So getting rid of things like I and I guess, different things that you don't really need to say in order for the listener to understand what's going on. If you ever find yourself saying, having a long line, you probably want to look at that and be like, if you have a long line that doesn't fit the way you want it to, you want to look at that and see, what can I take out? What is useful here? What's actually essential to the listener understanding what's going on and what's not, and cut out the stuff that's not. And then fourth, we've got setting expectations and then surprising them. So instead of having the same couplets all the way through, like the same amount of syllables, the same rhyme scheme, all that sort of stuff, you can change it now and then. You set up expectations by using repetition, for example, using couplets that are similar in the syllables that they use, the rhyme scheme, and then out of nowhere, seemingly, you can surprise the listener, which will keep them way more interested and make it a much more engaging experience. So I hope this video has helped you out. It seems pretty long on my recording time, but I'm sure there's a lot of editing that needs to happen. But I think this was a really good video to make a lot of great tips that are going to help you make much better songs. Let me know if you want more content like this. Let me know if, you know, this helped out. If you got any questions or any other tutorials you want me to make, let me know in the comment section down below. And in the next video, you're going to learn more about music, online marketing, and online business. By the way, if my vocal recording template's out, you might want to check that out. It'll be in the description down below. But I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.